Good evening, everybody. How we doing? It's not raining like last night. Who got caught in the rain last night? Yeah, that was not. Yeah, it was bad. We all did. Well, welcome to the second training panel of the 2025 TCS New York City Marathon, one of the largest marathons in the world. Darn you, London, knocked us off our perch. We are 11 weeks out from the race day. Where are my first timers? Hands up high, first timers. Leave them up, leave them up. 1, 2. I was way off. Yeah. How many was it?
There's more than 13. I said 13 in this room.
Well, hopefully tonight you'll learn something and you'll still want to run in 11 weeks. That's the most important part. We have a wonderful panel up here. But for those of you who are here in person, or maybe you're watching the live stream, we're going to watch the video afterward. Just want to go through some basic logistical info before we get started. Everybody here, if you have to use the bathrooms, they're around the corner over there. They are gender neutral, so feel free to. They are accessible as well. Anybody here who needs a listening aid device, our friends over here in the Run Center will be able to help you out. So hop over there. If you need anything, they'll make sure you got it. This panel is being live streamed on the NYRR YouTube. The live stream will be available as a recording. So if you have so much fun live, you want to watch it again, check it out. And we like the views. We always appreciate that. There will be closed captioning. It is auto-generated. So if whatever we say shows up differently, it's okay. Just pretend you saw we say there. We're all good. But again, we do apologize for any inconsistencies. No, I will not throw the cards, Gemma. I will not throw the cards. But over the course of tonight, you may have questions. We have a lot of first timers. We want questions. So as you hear things through, if you have a question, hold on to it. We will do a Q&A at the end of the line. Will be a mix of both online and live stuff as we go through tonight. But feel free to hold on to those. We have Coach Steve. Coach Steve, how you doing back there? He's moderating our chat online, so he'll be checking that out, and he'll walk through later with a microphone with any questions that you do have. We'd love to hear everything. First-timers, ask the questions. We've all been a first-timer. We're actually just chatting up here about one of our panelists who went couch to marathon in 2008, so you probably have all kinds of advice, right? All right, well, now that we've got all that fun part done, my name is Ben Delaney. I do work at New York Roadrunners. We get to do this. Super excited to have this amazing panel here tonight. I get to do all the fun part, ask the questions. Hopefully, we'll learn something fun and exciting, and thank everybody out there who's going it. But we have a wonderful, wonderful expert panel here tonight. We'll introduce them shortly. For everyone there who is watching online, we want to provide some physical descriptions if you are either low vision or blind. So I will start. I am a white male. I have some hair up here. I have more hair on my face. That's all good. I'm wearing a lovely blue NYC Marathon shirt. If you're looking for new gear or swag, I don't know, go up in the Run Hub. Maybe they'll have it up there or check it out online. But to my immediate left, Coach Gemma, also rocking the cool gear tonight.
Thanks, New Balance.
Thank you, New Balance. Definitely. Coach Gemma, I hear you have a passion for running, and you love coaching runners of all ages. Does that include me?
Yeah, especially you.
Especially me. Everything. She's dedicated to helping athletes achieve their goals and thrives on sharing their enthusiasm for the sport. From short distance on track to scenic trails and cross-country events, I know how much you love Van Cortlandt Park and getting up there, and a lively road race, Gemma embraces every aspect of running. You have qualified for the Boston Marathon, which I'm always impressed by. An experienced marathon, she has completed races across and around the globe. She's a world traveler. I love hearing all the stories. Using running as a way to explore the world. With each race, Gemma continues to challenge herself and inspires others to do the same. Welcome, Coach. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you. We need a short on that bio. That's really long.
I could cut it down.
Cut it down, break it in half. All right, I am a white female. I have dirty blonde hair. I am wearing a navy coach's shirt. I'm also wearing this really cool jacket from New Balance. If you want to purchase this is in the marathon collection coming out closer to the TCS New York City Marathon. Have a look online. Go to New Balance. It's really cool.
We're just plugging the New Balance gear tonight, aren't we? It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And next to Gemma is Dr. Shelby Harris. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you for being here. You are a board certified in behavioral sleep medicine by the American Academy of Sleep, and you treat a wide variety of sleep disorders. I have a few. We'll talk later. I will not take time tonight. It's all good. Using evidence based on non-pharmaceutical or pharmacological treatments. Pharmaceuticals, well, we won't go there. No, it's pharmacological. I should read that better. You've been in private practice. Dr. Harris is the longstanding director of the Behavioral Sleep Medicine Program at the Sleep Wake Disorder Center in Montefiore Medical Center. And this year, you will be towing the line in Staten Island. How many number would that be for you?
That'll be my 7th New York 24th marathon.
So she knows a few things about running and sleeping.
Yeah.
You do.
I do both together sometimes. No, white female. If you said your hair is dirty blonde, which is what I always say, then I'm definitely a brunette. I have long hair. I am wearing white sandals, navy pants, and a white sweater that has holes in it. I'm not very summer friendly right now. So, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And last up, Amy Stevens, welcome back to the panel. You've been on a few of these. How you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm really good.
You're a registered dietitian and a certified specialist in sports nutrition, eating disorder specialist, and a competitive runner. You've done a few things in your work. We talked about that before. Over 20 years of experience working with amateur and high-performing Olympic-level athletes to achieve their sports performance goals using the latest science-backed approaches. Currently, you are the team dietitian at Empire Track Club, a high-level group of athletes focused on making the U.S. Olympic trials as well as the NYU track and field team. Amy, you've qualified to run the Boston Marathon this year, so you ran this past year?
No, I ran it the 2 years prior. I ran it a couple times.
2 years prior, there you go. And you're doing Philly this year.
Philly, yes.
First time doing that race, or you've done it before?
Second.
Second.
Yep.
Anyone here done the Philadelphia Marathon? Do you enjoy it? It's a good. Ken was always telling me to do that one. It's before Thanksgiving, so I'm kind of excited by it.
So I'm a white female. I have brown hair, a little past my shoulders, and I'm wearing a blue short sleeve shirt.
Love it. Well, thank you all for being here. Let's dive right into our questions. I feel like Ken Jennings up here in Jeopardy, but we're going to do this well here. So let's start with what seems like a simple question, but it can be complicated. But what makes the TCS New York City Marathon the best marathon, Gemma?
I'm so glad I get to go first because I know that we're all going to have very similar answers here.
I had to start here, sorry.
Think of something else.
If you have not run the TCS New York City Marathon, you were in for a treat. It is an absolute party right from the start all the way through to that finish line. It starts off with a cannon, not a whistle, not a gun, a literal cannon. Be prepared for that. My first time wasn't prepared, literally terrified, but the cannon, it's super exciting. Crowds absolutely everywhere, and everyone's out there to support you. If you're not running, you're cheering. If you're not running and you're in the crowds, make a sign, be out there for race day. It's the best.
It is. Shelby, why is New York City the best marathon?
The crowds, the energy. I also love how international it is. Like at the start line, you're in New York, but there's people speaking all different languages, which I think is the coolest thing ever. While the cannons go off and they're playing New York, New York in the background by Frank Sinatra. It's the best.
It really is different. And Amy, what else do you have for us?
I mean, you guys said everything. I think one of my favorite things is that you get to go through all the different neighborhoods of New York City. And you can't really do that for many reasons, one of which is traffic. But you can actually run through and you get to see every single neighborhood and the changes throughout all the different boroughs. And you get to see all 5 boroughs. That's so cool. And I bet a lot of people didn't know that there are 5 boroughs and what the names of those boroughs are.
Yeah, remember the first 6 years of this marathon, they ran loops of Central Park, 4+ loops. I don't know about you, I mean, I've done enough loops in the parks, but 4 and change on one day would be a lot. So I'm happy we get to start off in Staten Island. It is a long day, but we'll kind of go into that. And I'm sure a lot of you are training, maybe for the first time. So hopefully you're feeling good. Hopefully you're in that zone. You've got 11 weeks to go. You're hopefully hitting your height, the mileage that you need. And maybe there are some fatigue setting in. So Shelby, let's kind of go with you first. How does recovery, but more importantly, sleep, help or affect the training at this point? And what does what does that look like with affecting our runs, with sleep, and all those fun things?
Yeah, so sleep is really, people think of sleep a lot of times as that thing that gives you energy. Yes, we need energy to run, important. But also, when you're sleeping, you're getting not just enough sleep, but better quality sleep. You're focusing on that quality. You're getting hopefully deeper sleep at times. And during the deep stage of sleep is when your body actually repairs itself. So if you're doing, let's say, a long run, you're doing speed work, the night after, when you actually get a better night's sleep, or you try to get a better night's sleep, you're actually going to get more out of your workout because you're going to repair your body, your muscles are going to grow, and anything that you were trying to do is going to be solidified more. So sleep is really important for that. And also, it's just important for as you're fueling yourself, you're going to make better choices overall because you're not going to be reaching for just all sugar, all fat all the time if you're getting enough sleep.
Whoops. Okay. Noted.
I mean, no judgment. No judgment.
your marathon training, right? It's all good, right? Is that how it works? Well, maybe Amy can help debunk that one in a second as we go to that one, Amy. But as you, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the runners, you're racking the miles up. You're kind of getting into the peak volume area. So how should we be fueling our bodies? That's a real thing we talked about earlier. And how do we know if we're getting the right things into our body? I mean, I love Shake Shack, but maybe not the best choice.
Well, I think it's great that I'm following up after Shelby because sleep is one of those things. If you're eating enough, you're able to sleep as well. They're very much tied together. But at this point, we're about 11 weeks out or so. So your mileage is pretty high. And as your mileage is increasing and we're kind of reaching the peak, you're going to change your eating habits. How many of you have noticed that you're a lot hungrier? Right. So I think understanding what your body's experiencing when you're exerting more energy, and especially the longer, harder workouts are going to take longer to recover. So we need to address that. Get ahead of it. Bring snacks with you if you feel like you're dipping in your energy in the afternoon. Instead of grabbing a cup of coffee, like maybe you need a snack instead. And prioritizing the sleep can also help you to get through those afternoons in a little bit more of a seamless way. So I think that's really important, just getting ahead of your fueling and knowing that those tough workouts are going to take a couple days to recover. 3 meals a day with 2 to 3 snacks a day are really important. If you're just kind of working through lunch and grabbing food as you go, which many of us do, myself included, really prioritize your meals. Each meal should have 3 components: carbs, proteins, and fats with some color. So like fruits and vegetables. That's what a proper meal looks like. If you're really busy and you just can't stop for a meal, then you do the best that you can, but you know you have to get in a meal soon after. You're going to feel so much better. And then one other thing you asked.
How do we get the right things?
Yeah. We're getting right. So getting enough sleep, like being able to fall asleep, being able to stay asleep. Those are other indications that you're eating well. A lot of times when athletes are underfueled, it disrupts their sleep. So sleep quality is definitely impacted by fueling properly throughout the day. Also, you know you're fueling well if you have enough energy for your next workout. You're recovering well. Your mood is even. You can ask your partner if your mood is even. If you're getting hangry before meals, then maybe you need to eat a little more earlier on. But you should feel rested and you should see improvements in your training. Your paces should be going up and you should be feeling really good and excited overall.
And seen. Okay, perfect. that was perfect. Yeah, it's so important because, I mean, sleep, food, all good. But Gemma, what should our running look like right now? I have a lot of questions on that alone.
Love the phrasing of the question.
No, we'll just go. And how should we be preparing for these miles? We talked about the sleep already. Coach, what do you got for us?
I'm thinking we should look like Tom Hanks.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Okay, cool. Next. No, we all have a training plan, right? And we're all, sticking to that, adapting, changing as needed. So I think really importantly is using that training plan, realizing that we're not going to be hitting every single one of these runs. It's okay if we have a day off because, something's come up, but realizing the bigger picture, you don't need to go out and make those miles up, but sticking to that training plan, adapting that training plan, that's going to be really helpful for where you are right now, because where you're about to go is it's really fun. Okay, we've got lots of miles to come, but for our first-time marathoners, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Our training is going to get longer, but building that into our routine, getting used to getting out there, getting those miles done. I think if we're living in New York City, we're all here right now. It's been really hot, right? So making sure we're getting out nice and early, going out later in the evening, making sure that we're not hitting those miles in the heat of the day. That's going to be really important. Making sure that we're planning rest and recovery and eating really well. I think that's really important. I feel like I do not need to echo or emphasize anything that has been said there, except I heard 3 snacks. I'm more of like a 5 snack kind of girl.
Snacks
no
are always
limit.
good. Never have enough snacks, but good snacks, right? Though, Amy, like
Nutritious.
Oreos are not good snacks.
Well, I mean, everything fits into your diet, but like preferably eating the nutritious foods first.
Yeah, exactly. Always a good
Oreos
thing.
fit.
It's always, but again, over the next few weeks, a lot of our runners out here, if you already haven't, you're hitting those peak miles out there. So Amy, coming back to you, let's look at the food part of it first. What are the things we should be watching out for as the miles increase? Is so important. And how do we plan our race day meal knowing, or maybe they don't know this yet, that the hours commuting on race morning, we've all done New York City before, it can be a long day. So kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so what we can be doing now, as I mentioned, like getting ahead of your hunger, I think that's really important, but also nailing down your fueling strategy for your long runs. That's really important. That's the foundation that we're building. That's what you're trying to achieve. So, what is working for you? What's not working for you? What's your pre race fuel that feels good on your body? And getting in those carbs during your runs, figuring out which gels you like. Martin is going to be on the course, that gel. And no new foods on race day. Like you're not going to try anything new. So if you experiment with Martin gels now, there's an option to have it on the course as well. So really nailing that down, 30 to 60 grams of carb per hour is really what you want to target, and that's about 1 to 2 gels. And that's not going to change. Maybe that would increase slightly as your body adapts a little bit more to running. Hydration is something that you want to focus on as well. Like get a hydration plan. Are you a heavy sweater? Are you a salty sweater? Let's figure out what products you're going to be using on race day. If you're carrying a Noon tablet or in a bottle, like I don't know if you're going to carry that on race day. Maybe you need to use a different electrolyte product. So figuring that out. And then race day. So with New York City, which it's unlike any other marathon, you have to leave very early in the morning. Maybe you guys have heard that. Hopefully you know that by now. So you might have to get up like 4 hours earlier, maybe 5 hours earlier, depending on where you're coming from, to get to the start. And then you're going to wait. So 3 to 4 hours before or 5 hours before, you want to have a meal. So plan to have an extra meal or like eat your breakfast wherever you are. And then 2 hours, around 2 to 3 hours, you're going to have a snack before, like around 2 hours, a snack. And then you might want another snack about an hour before, and then bring extra gels. You might want to start by having a gel to top off. Bring extra is really important, and practice fueling and know what your food is going to be beforehand.
I just heard snacks.
Snacks, more snacks, lots of snacks.
All
Bring them
the
back.
snacks we have there. All right, Gemma. These runners are doing fantastic, but they have a lot of work, especially the next 8 weeks. We know what's coming. We've done it all before up here. We know these next 8 weeks are going to be very important as you approach the taper. Many runners probably get into miles that they never thought they would be able to do, but you're going to do it. And that's the beautiful part. Those big teen miles, and maybe a 2 in front of one of the runs are going to get out there. So talk about the importance of all of that and how we should properly prepare for them, knowing what's coming, but knowing that we're still back here 11 weeks out.
Yeah, so we still have lots of time. So I think that's really important to remember. And please don't compare your plan to someone else's plan. Everyone is coming into this race at a very different starting point. Some of us have ran half marathons before. Some of us are coming from a couch to run this marathon. So please don't compare your miles to other people. We have different ways of training as well. So we have some runners that are going to be doing mile-based, some that are going to be doing time-based. So just really follow your plan and make sure that is working for you. In terms of following and sticking to that, all of us, things that we all need to do, make sure we're hydrated. So the day before our long run, we're hydrating. The day before that, we're hydrating. We're eating well. We're having the recommended snacks. We're having the recommended nutrition. And that night before your long run or the day of your long run, you're making sure that you're fueling really well with what you plan on fueling with race week and the night before and the morning of your race, because you're using your training to replicate what you were planning on doing race day. I'll tell you right now, if it's not working during your training, it's not going to suddenly work November 2nd. So find something that works and stick to that. That's part of that training plan, your fuel, your hydration, and your nutrition. With that being said, you're going to go out, plan those long runs. So put that into your calendar. If you're running with a group of friends, that can help the miles go by really nicely. If you're going by yourself, listen to a podcast, listen to some music, plan out where you are going so you know where you are starting, you know where you are stopping. That's going to help keep you accountable out there on those long runs. And I think that was it. It was a dramatic stop.
I was like, what else do you have? What else do you have? There's no, okay, we're nothing. Shelby, back to sleeping. It's challenging. I mean, I think that every time, the first time you do it, your aches and the pains and just trying to fall asleep and everything else, and you're thinking about the next stuff. So you may have problems getting to sleep. I had a hard time getting to sleep last night. It was tough. I was able to do it. It wasn't the best night of sleep just because, again, we talk about lifestyle, work, schedule. If you have kids, if you're expecting kids, if you have dogs that are really cute and they want to cuddle with you at 2 in the morning, all the fun things. But how can we make sure that we're recovering properly and make sure we're getting enough rest? And do you recommend tracking our sleep? Is that helpful as well?
Okay, so I'll start with the tracking.
Go.
So if you are someone who is just trying to get some insight into your sleep overall, so am I getting enough sleep? Am I inconsistent? and you just kind of want to highlight a little bit of what might be some patterns, then track. By all means, tracking's fine. If the tracking causes you to feel more stress, if you find that you let the watch or whatever tracker, ring, whatever you're using, judge how your sleep was, and you think it was a little different, but then it makes your day not go as you'd hoped, then ditch it. Like, take out an old piece of paper and pencil or whatever. You could track it that way. You don't need a tracker to tell you couldn't sleep the night before. Like, we were able to sleep for a long time. So, and the other thing to keep in mind with with all the trackers pretty much is that when they're pretty good with amount of sleep and awakenings, but when it comes to staging of sleep, so deep sleep, light sleep, REM, there are different stages that we use. They're not as accurate, and they're not accurate from one tracker to the next. And they also use their own proprietary data. Like, the only way to really officially tell is to hook someone up to a sleep study, so an EEG. So they're okay-ish, but people get very fixated on, I'm not getting enough deep sleep. My tracker says I'm not getting enough REM, whatever. And also keep in mind, there are things like medications that you take that might influence the different stages of sleep you get. Doesn't mean stop the medication. So keep that in mind with the trackers, because they're becoming so popular and they're actually backfiring for a lot of people. So when we're talking about getting enough sleep, the thing that I always think about first is quality and then quantity. Quantity tends to be the thing that some nights we struggle with. So thinking about on a morning, for me, like, I get up earlier. I don't know about anybody here on their long runs. I get up earlier on a Saturday to do my long run so I can be back with my family. So I could potentially get less sleep on a Friday night. So that could happen for a lot of people. So first, work on the quality as consistently as you can. So try to make sure you're getting up around the same time, unless it's like a long run where you have to get up earlier. Try to keep a consistent bedtime. Really try to keep your bedroom, it's now with the weather, quiet, dark, cool. Cool is really important. People have their temperatures way too high. Below 72 degrees, ideally in the 60s if you can. Cool and then comfortable. So you want to have that all set. And then think about other things that you can control. So alcohol within 3 hours of bed, try to limit that. That can cause you to have more awakenings at night. And also just like the liquids, you want to stay hydrated, but maybe don't have too many liquids right before bed, and then you're going to have to wake up to pee all the time. So I would try to focus on those things and then really dial that in the week of the marathon, because there are going to be nights where right before the marathon, that night, you're going to be all jittery. I know I am, and excited that you might not sleep as well. Just let the week leading up to it be the thing that gets you there.
I think it's safe to say, like, everything that we're talking about is that dress rehearsal. You're trying to put all these puzzle pieces into place. So think about that. Think of it like a big puzzle you have. You're trying to get these things nailed down now, so that when you get into, like you talked about, the nerves start to take effect into taper, hopefully you can be a little bit more calm. Because, yeah, I mean, it all makes a difference, because if you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're not running well.
And then one other thing, sorry to add, is you were talking about, like, sometimes after a hard workout, I know for me, after I run the marathon, I have restless leg syndrome, which people don't talk about a lot, and periodic limb movement, which happens while you're asleep. So after a hard workout for me, or a long run, my legs end up like on fire, and it makes it hard for me to sleep. It doesn't have to be your legs. It can be your arms and your limb or your trunk as well. So if that becomes an issue, consider massage, but also you want to see if you have any iron deficiencies, because that can also be something. If you're not eating enough, if you're not fueling well, you could actually be iron deficient, which could make your restless leg worse.
Learning all kinds of things tonight. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, wrapping it up. We're getting close. I think we're doing good. But Gemma,
Ben.
what is your final piece of advice for all of our lovely people here running this year's TCS New York City Marathon?
That's really tricky, because there's so many things we could say. I think enjoy all of it, okay? Your training is a part of your marathon, and then really celebrate everything that you have done on November 2nd, because, you've got up, you've done those hard miles in the heat, in the torrential rain last night, you've eaten all the food on repeat. You may not want to see that pizza again, you may not want to see a gel again, but really celebrate you, because you've done this, and it's pretty incredible.
Shelby?
Just remember, you're doing the thing that you wanted to do. Just keep that in mind. And then, like I was saying earlier, just don't stress if you're not sleeping well the night before the marathon. It's totally normal. You'll be fine. Some of my best race times, don't tell colleagues, or after nights where I didn't sleep as well because I was so amped up. So it's okay. Just focus on the week before.
Amy?
I would say similar to what Gemma said, enjoy the process. Like this is supposed to be fun. Like actually these long runs, getting together with friends, commiserating with friends that are also having the same experience, that's fun. And then the other thing I would say that's really important is write out your plan, your race day plan. Write it out, because once it comes time for that day, and write it out like now or as you get closer, because once you get closer, you're so nervous and you can't really think straight. But if you have your plan written out, it takes one thing out of the equation, and you could focus on the experience and being at the start line with all these other individuals.
I mean, I was like, I have friends of mine, you look at race day as dessert. Yeah, that's what you're all the work, that's dessert.
Icing on the cake.
Or it's also like the victory lap. Like you did all the work. Now all you have to do is run 26.2 miles. Piece of cake, right? But you've run hundreds of miles to get there. So you really like, embrace the moments, enjoy it, because it does go by quickly and it's over before you hopefully know it's over. I don't know what it is, but we have one more set of questions for our panelists here. So start thinking about your questions. See if we have questions online. Oh, we do. Awesome. So make sure you have questions too, because it's a competition. We have to have better questions here than we do online. So think of good questions, please. But we have a quick, rapid round of one-word answers. You ready to go? You sure? Here we go. We'll work down from this way for Gemma. Gemma, describe mile 20 in one word.
Painful.
Shelby, one word, mile 20.
Expletives.
Oh. What do you got for us, Amy? Mile 20.
Pain.
So you're excited you're doing the race still? Okay, we'll keep on. We'll go to the next question now. Okay, Amy, what's the best pre-race meal? One word.
Oatmeal.
Oh, Shelby.
Pasta.
Oh.
Pizza.
There we go. There we go. Okay, Shelby, one word for Staten Island.
Dunkin' Donuts hat.
There you go. There you go. Amy.
Porta potties.
Puppies.
Puppies, yes. Therapy dog. Anyone from Staten Island here? Okay. Would you agree with those? Well, we'll ask you. Okay, if you had one word for Staten Island, what would it be? There you go. I love that. Perfect. All righty, Gemma. What keeps you going at mile 23 besides just keep running?
Finish line.
Shelby?
Levan cookie at finish.
Amy.
Grit.
There you go. Okay, Shelby, you've run this race 7 times. Favorite borough to run through?
Bronx. Like the DJs and the music.
Amy?
Manhattan, Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Jen, what you got?
The Bronx.
Not going with Queens?
The Bronx has it, man.
No one says Staten Island, sorry. We'll work on that for the next panel, I'm sure. Okay, Amy, describe one word. Describe the Queensboro Bridge. I've got plenty of them for
Long.
Shelby.
Countdown.
Quiet.
No one's going to want to run this race after this. Whoever came up with this idea, I'm just killing me here. Gemma, what's your training vibe? And Taylor Swift is correct, but go on.
Fun.
Shelby?
Friendship.
Amy?
I was going to say the same. Friends, training partners.
Gotcha. So kind of in the same vein, Shelby, will come to you. What's your biggest training mistake?
Aperol spritz.
That was not on my bingo card, but we'll go with it. Gemma, what's yours?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Amy, what you got?
Large burrito right before run.
Chipotle for lunch today, Steve. We had it. It was great, wasn't it? You know it was so good. It was so good today. You had to do it. Okay, Amy. Oh, here we go. What's your most common post-run craving? You said burrito already, but what else we got?
Chocolate milk.
Shelby?
Chocolate milk.
Ice cream.
The ice cream. There we go. Gemma, what's your pace group personality?
Ice cream.
Puppies.
Potty pace.
There we go. Shelby, what we got there?
Party pace.
There you go. Amy?
Chatty.
Okay. Perfect. I like that. All right. Getting close to it. Now, you know what? I'm going to leave that one for last. I think it's a good one. So we'll do this one first. Amy, what would you describe taper with?
Food.
Shelby?
Sleep.
Oh. Gemma, ice cream.
Tears.
Tears, the taper. Yeah, taper can be challenging. For those who've done it before, taper can be a weird time. For those who've not done it, we'll have a hotline to call for therapy. You may need it every now and then. Okay, last one. Last one. This is going to be a good one. Because again, you're all going to, well, I can't say you're all going to get there. This is your goal, though. Gemma, one word. Describe the finish line of the TCS, New York City Marathon.
Epic.
Shelby?
Medals.
Amy?
Accomplishment.
Yeah. Awesome comes to mind. Tears.
Everything.
It's everything.
Zombie walk.
Joy, massive
Yeah.
joy, elation,
Yeah. You can go on.
excitement. Yeah,
yeah.
everything. Everything. Your whole 20-week training plan is right there.
It is a special moment when you do get to come up, and people have done it before, know what it feels like. And Gemma, Steve, and myself, we have the the real joy of being at the finish line for a big part of our day when we're there, and it is pretty special to see people come through and you see the tears and the emotion and the elation and the it's over. I don't know how to feel about it yet.
You see a lot of different emotions as well.
Well, I think it's time to turn over to our lovely panel and our online coach, Steve. If you have questions here, get those hands up. Don't be shy. Be the first person with the question. Go. There we go.
Hold on, I'm coming.
Thank you. So I'm a slower runner. Does that change the fueling plan, do you think, like throughout the run if you're going to be on the track for much longer?
That's a great question. It really doesn't. I mean, I think you would probably actually increase the amount of carbohydrates you would be taking per hour. Technically, the studies show 30 to 60 grams for runners up to like 3 hours. And then beyond 3 hours, it goes up to like 80 grams of carb. And that's because you're kind of pushing into the next meal. So normally you'd be eating like a lunch or a next meal, but instead you're exerting more energy. So that's why there's that higher carb amount. So you do need to kind of make sure you're fueling. You could use solids if you're not running the whole time and you're more at a talking pace, so you're comfortable. You could try different things throughout. It doesn't have to be gels the whole way.
I use Sour Patch Kids. They're amazing, by the way.
Yes. Questions, get them up. Oh, one in the front here.
Question for Amy. We mentioned sleeping the week before. What is your advice for fueling the week before? Because we are not running as much at that point, but it's going to affect us in the race there.
That's a question I get a lot. It's like how to fuel the week before, like during your taper week. So fueling the week before, like you want to top off your glycogen stores. That is the goal. So eating what you normally eat, and as the week progresses, so the race is on Sunday, so like by like Wednesday, Thursday, you start increasing the amount of carbohydrates on your plate. So eat the same foods the same way. Make sure you're getting plenty of carbohydrates, and you gradually increase the amount on your plate. You don't have to overeat and get uncomfortable. That's what a lot of people feel like they need to do, because then you just end up full and uncomfortable, and it makes the whole situation of taper week worse. So eat the same way and make sure you're getting plenty of carbohydrates. If you're busy and you're going to have relatives in or you're showing people around, make sure you prioritize your food and you're getting in those right amount of food that you normally would get.
Keep them coming. More questions?
Got a lot online.
Oh, here we go.
If you guys want to think more in person, we had a really good question. I'm going to do my workout today back here. Question. This is for Gemma. The question was, why do most training plans cap at 20 miles or so? Is it better to do at least one long run around 26.2 miles or more? This will give me a benchmark, both physically and mental fitness.
That's a red flag. Keep it at 20. So we don't want to be going up to that 26.2. Save that for race day. All you're doing is taking away from race day. So 20 miles, 22 miles is this magical number, but if you convert that to time for our time-based runners, we don't want to be out there for longer than 3 hours 15. At that point, you are just taking away energy that you need to prepare for the race. So really, please don't go out there and run an ultra marathon knowing that that's going to help you, because that's not going to help you. You're going to be more tired, more fatigued. Focus on the training, 20 miles, 22 miles, 3 hours 15. That's kind of where we're looking to hit in our training.
Cool. A question over here. All right. We're going to hand the microphone down.
I'm wondering if there's like a sweet spot number of total miles that you should get to. Because I know I'm personally using Runna, and not to compare it to other people, because I know you said we shouldn't do that, but I feel like some of my friends are closer to 40 miles total, whereas my max will be around like 33 or 35.
Yeah, so everyone is coming in at a different entry point. Is this your first marathon? So we really are not wanting to overdo it. So it's probably got you a little bit more conservative on some of your runs. It's probably got you maxing out at that 20-mile marker, that 18-mile marker, which is totally okay. Everyone's training plan is going to be specific to them. They should be adaptable to you. But really importantly, don't compare those miles. You're going to be prepared if you're following that training plan. That's going to help you for race day.
Can I add something quick? I also keep in mind too that like some people do better with higher mileage and some people do better with lower mileage. Like I used to run higher mileage, and when I actually cut down and did more cross training, for me personally, I actually got faster. So it really, just to compare miles doesn't always give you that much.
And she's ran 24 marathons.
So not all.
All right, I'm going to jump to one online, then back to in person. Online question for Shelby. Molly asks, how do you know when you're good tired, in quotes? Good, how do you know when you're good tired when training, and when you should maybe take a day off despite your training plan?
Oh gosh, I think that's like a mix of both.
Combination.
Yeah, I think, or actually all of us. There's a difference between tired and sleepiness. If you're like feeling like you need to take a nap, maybe a nap might be a good thing for you. So if you feel this kind of need to take a nap, you take a 20, 30-minute nap, generous, I know, earlier in the day, and it replenishes you, then you're probably fine. If you feel almost burned out, if you feel like the quality of your sleep, even when you're tired, is not great at night, if you're restless when you're trying to fall asleep, you just can't unwind your body and relax if your sleep is broken, then maybe taking a day off and refueling and just focusing on rest might be better, because the rest and this better sleep might help to actually get you where you need to go.
I agree with that. And I also think you can shift your long run. If it's the long run, for example, the next day and you're feeling tired, that's going to change your form. It's going to change the way you're running. There's no point in going out and completely depleting yourself. Give yourself an extra day, give yourself 2 extra days, adapt, change your plan. That's totally okay. If it was a hard workout, make it an easy run. There's loads of ways you can adapt your training to fit with feeling tired. You are going to get tired. That's part of marathon training. So really listen to your body. I think that's really important. You will know the days that you're tired, but you can do it, and days that you're tired and you shouldn't do it.
Hi. What do you recommend for hydration on your long runs? Because I feel like I've been getting really thirsty, and I've heard of like salt sticks, or some people carry the little water bottles, and like during the actual race there's water stations every mile or so, but like what do you do when you're training?
There's loads of different options. You can take a hydration pack out when you are training. You can use the beautiful water fountains in the park, delicious, nutritious NYC tap water, but make sure you are hydrating. On course, we have water and we have Gatorade. So it's the Gatorade Endurance formula. So if you plan on using that race day, definitely practice with that during your training. We have it around every mile-ish on race day. So make sure that you're consuming whatever that time is for you, and just practice taking it. It's the same with everything. Practice what you plan on doing race day, and you want to stay hydrated. That's really important. Make sure your pee is like a lemonade yellow. We're not looking for a bright yellow. We're not looking for brown. That's going to be problematic, concerning. So you're wanting to stay hydrated and making sure you're drinking all the time, not just during your long run. Okay? I think that's also something we forget about.
Yeah, those Gatorade squeeze bottles, the big ones. You need like 3 of those in a day. Like that's to help you just around your runs. And then during your run, you need to be hydrating. If you're thirsty, then that's a really good sign that your body is really depleted with water and fluids. If you're running in the park and you don't like the water fountains, bring cash. Sometimes I'll bring cash and I'll just stop at a deli and grab a bottle. Or hydration vests. There's lots of different brands, and there's some like inexpensive ones. You can carry 1.5 liters in those. That's a pretty comfortable amount to carry. I wouldn't go above that. I tried the 2, and it's just not as comfortable. So there's definitely ways. And handhelds, those are like 20 ounces or 16 ounces or so that you can use. see what other people are doing. And there's running stores that have lots of options.
All right, we're going to go one online, then back in person. This is kind of a two-part, but this is kind of a good double part for Amy. Cutting off alcohol before training, does alcohol affect training? And then you talked about a little bit substitutions for gels. I know I said Sour Patch Kids, which are amazing, no plug there, but substitutes for gels and how alcohol affects training.
So alcohol definitely impacts training. As Shelby was saying, it disrupts sleep. So you're not going to get that quality sleep. And that's the most important thing right now to help your body recover, especially in these peak weeks of training. So you don't want to sacrifice any of your sleep. Alcohol also has calories, so it's displacing some other foods that can be more nutritious and supportive to your training, like carbohydrates or proteins. And then it also dehydrates you, so it excretes excess fluid and electrolytes. So you're actually losing electrolytes if you're drinking lots of alcohol. And it also can also interrupt your digestive tract, so you can get GI issues from having excessive alcohol. So there's a lot of impacts that it has on your body, and I would just recommend during these peak weeks of training, you're putting so much exertion on your body that you want to maximize the fuel that you're putting in. So maybe pause or maybe decrease the amount of alcohol just for these few weeks while you're really exerting yourself in the high mileage, just to stay healthy. And what was that other part of the question? Oh yeah, it's gel substitute. So there's so many different gels now that are on the market, lots of different textures, different flavors. Experiment with ones that are more palatable for you. Also, you can do liquids. You can get your carbohydrates through sports drinks like Martin drinks or other different products. But solids, if you're going to try to use solids like dried fruit or fresh fruit, you need to test that many times before you use that on your course. Number one, it's cumbersome to carry those types of products, and also the sugars are not as easily digestible. Like those gels are specifically designed to have the most easily digestible types of sugars. And if you're running, you're exerting your legs and you're trying to digest food at the same time simultaneously. So you want to have something that's very easily digestible. And that's why those gel packets are ideal. But there are definitely food options. You just have to experiment with a lot of them. And the chews are also really good. Those can be another alternative.
Hi. So, what advice would you give to people who wish to finish, for example, in less than 3 hours or less than 4 hours, and then they end up waiting longer at restrooms, and they add more times until they finish?
Oh yeah, the bathroom. So find out where the bathrooms are. I think there's a really good block. I think it's like mile 8, right before the bridge. Right? Is that right? On the right, like there's big chunks of bathrooms. There's like big walls of bathrooms. And I can't remember exactly where they are. Do you guys know where they are?
Usually at the water stations, typically there are restrooms.
And there's definitely restrooms, but there's a couple areas that have like a wall of bathrooms right over the 59th Street Bridge, underneath on First Avenue on the left. There's like 20 bathrooms. That is not going to take a lot of time. If you can hold it to those certain mile marks, I would write it on my arm sometimes, just in case, just so I knew. And if I had to go, like you hold it in and then you don't lose a lot of time. You try to minimize it, because I have waited online and that's very frustrating. So if you can hold it, like know where those points are. There's another one in the like mile, like I think it was like 20 or so. We can find those out and follow up.
Definitely the one just after the Verrazano Bridge is really popular, so avoid that one.
All right, coming online, this is for Gemma, kind of a combination question from Bill. Bill says, I have run Boston Marathon a handful of times. What makes New York City different? Is it harder? And also a lot of questions about where the hills are along the course.
This is a tricky question. I've ran Boston and New York City, and I've had debates about this. You've ran Boston as well. I think, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if it's the same on paper, I think Boston is a little bit more challenging course just because of where the hills are placed and because I wasn't training in Boston. So firstly, if you are, I don't know if you're living in Boston, training in Boston, we all have an advantage being in New York City, being able to get out there on course. The hills in Boston are very clear, lots of downhill, which kind of eats your quads up in the first half, and then you have rolling hills for the second section. Heartbreak Hill, it's famous. There's a reason why it's called that. New York City, it is rolling hills the entire way, but your biggest incline is the first few miles, and that's the Verrazano Bridge. And then we roll our way through to the finish line, essentially running over multiple bridges. Both of them are technically challenging in terms of hills. I would say Boston's slightly more challenging. That's a debate. It's a big debate question. We've had this before.
It's actually very controversial. I mean, I've obsessed over this. I think for Boston, it's also the wind. If it's on you or against you, it can help you or really crush you. I've had both. But I think for New York, what would I say? The start line, you're waiting there a little bit longer. So there's that wait that's a little bit different. If you get terrible weather, just plan for it, like prepare. If it's gonna rain, then bring a lot of rain stuff that you can toss. So adapt to the conditions so it's not as much of a, it doesn't implement your plan. But it's New York City, I don't know. It's pretty cool. This is where we live, just like Gemma was saying.
The energy is better in New York City, I'll give us that.
Yeah, and I'm from New England.
I would agree. Sorry.
No, but I would agree with New York. But I also think the time of the year, too, the training for Boston can be a little bit more brutal because you're training through the winter, which is a lot harder. I personally find.
Any questions in the room? We still have more online, but anyone here? I don't want to miss anyone over here. All right. Keep your hand up. I'll come to you later.
Cross training, would you recommend reps, increasing weights to the race?
With cross training, you want higher reps or higher weight, depending on where you are in your training?
I would tend to go with lower, like body weight stuff. But I guess talking to a trainer, everyone is very different and how they're doing their cross training. I tend to focus on like a little bit more, but less weight. And that kind of helps me with my recovery from cross training and then going into the running. But that would be a really good question to talk to someone at the gym about.
You guys have mentioned the wait time a few times leading up to the start of the race. Would you recommend trying to move one of your longer runs to later in the day, maybe once the heat breaks, so that way you can kind of practice sitting around for a little bit first instead of like the rise and shine, 6 a.m., get out the door type of long runs that I'm sure other people have been doing too?
I think that's a really good idea. I've definitely done that unintentionally, and I'm sure we all have as well, but it can be really beneficial for race day, and it helps you practice the fueling, which is really important, and also the restroom, because you're going to have to practice getting in line multiple times on a race day morning, and so you're going to have that same thing. If you can replicate that at least once in your training, I think that would be really beneficial, but not during this heat. Please don't do that.
Any other? We do have a chat coming up October 23rd about race day logistics. So all those questions about getting to the start line, what it's like. October 23rd, we'll have a talk race day logistics.
There was a one-word answer why that the taper was hard, and I hadn't thought about this yet. So it's like another thing to stress about. So like, could you fill us in like why the taper is going to be hard? I thought that was going to be an easy point in my training.
You do, and then you get to the taper and you think, have I done enough? And then you get in your head and you're like, maybe my leg is broken. So like your mind can start playing tricks on you towards the end. So just it's not real. It's just like the little devil on your shoulder telling you that something is wrong when it's not. And I just have it every single time. And so you just have to remind yourself, you're okay, you've trained for this, you have done the miles. If you've missed a mile, it doesn't matter, that's okay. You're not gonna go out and run those miles. But you can get in your head a little bit, and not everyone does, but some of us that do really do.
Right, you start to doubt yourself because like you're about to run you're running a marathon. It's like counterintuitive. You're running a lot of miles and then you're decreasing the miles. You're like, how am I going to get through this marathon? And you have a lot of self-doubt. But I would just say trust the process. You're not the only one who's done it. This is how it works. And trust your training plan. If you have a coach, or trust all the things that you've been doing leading up to that.
So I'm a psychologist by training too, and like the thing that the people legit call it taper madness because it's just something that so many people will experience. I mean, if I have a little like thing in my knee, I'm like, oh my gosh, I must be injured. I can't do. And like it just know that you're training. The hay is in the barn. They like to say like you've done everything, and it's a little bit of that like that comfort like that should I run the 26 miles before to know that I can do it. You just have to trust in your training and like let those 2-3 weeks of taper just be and not read into every little thing, let it pass.
All right, coming back online. Question from Carl. How does one avoid getting caught up in the excitement and start out too fast when the goal is to survive/finish?
I love that. And the first few miles of this marathon, you're going to feel great because you're tapered, you're excited, and you're feeling really, really, really good. Okay. So just you really need to remember to hold that back. You should not be on goal pace if you have a goal pace in those first few miles. You are really wanting to get through Queens before we start picking up that pace. And if you've gone out fast and you're thinking, I can hold this for 26.2 miles, yeah, you might be able to, but also you may not. So really remember to hold that back and just don't get too wrapped up in the excitement and the pressure and everyone and everything that's around you. Some people will listen to a podcast, a playlist to kind of just like zone out in the first few miles. That can be really helpful. But set pace alerts on your watch if you have a tendency to go out too fast. But that is the biggest mistake that you can make to ruin your race is going out too fast.
And then a lot of chatter in the chat about transportation. Now we know that's coming up soon. I don't know, Ben and Gemma, you guys can talk about the difference between shuttle and ferry, or the bus and ferry, kind of the options and what those both entail. And we all know those options are coming up pretty soon for athletes. So maybe prepare them for next week.
Yeah, so you're going to have the option of catching the ferry or one of the buses from Midtown. Really depend on what time you are starting on race day. I think you all will have a kind of clear indication of what time that's going to be. The buses leave earlier in the morning, so if you're on one of the later waves, the Staten Island ferry is probably the best way to get down there. Also, the Staten Island ferry has iconic views of the city. That's also part of the experience of going down there. But look at where you live, which is the best place to go. Look at what your time is. For starting the race. You won't know exactly what time you're starting, but you have like a kind of indication of that. There's no wrong answer. The bus, you get a little bit of sleep. The ferry, you get to pace around, wait in line for the toilet, and watch the sunrise. So there's no wrong answer, but definitely take one of those options down to the start line in Staten Island.
And also keep in mind that even though in my field we're trying to get rid of the changing of the clocks, the marathon is typically after we fall back. So you're going to get that extra hour. It's not going to be like you would think it is. So that's the one time it actually works in our favor.
Amy, with transportation, can you talk about eating race morning? Because we wake up at 4 a.m. for a long commute over to Staten Island, and a lot of athletes have a hard time eating those mornings. How does our nutrition timeline work that morning?
Yeah, so I would walk back 3 to 4 hours, and that's when you want to have a meal. So 3 to 4 hours is a substantial meal. So that could be a bagel with peanut butter. It could be a banana, a Cliff Bar, and maybe a Gatorade. And so whatever time you have as your start time, that's where the clock starts, like walk back 3 to 4 hours. And that's when you want to have that meal because it'll be digested. And then 2 hours before you start, you want to have a snack. So that could be pretzels. It could be a granola bar, something that's easily digestible and low in fiber. It's not the time to have the multigrain anything. Not the chia pudding, like I wouldn't do that at that time, even though it might be a nutritious food. You want to do easily digestible foods at that point. If you have a sensitive GI tract, then maybe just rice. You're bringing a bowl of rice to have as your breakfast, and then maybe a little bit more 2 hours before. And then as you get closer to the start, you can have extra snacks with you and just kind of be snacking on your food. And then have an extra gel if that's something you've trained with and you feel that if in case you're hungry, because this is a later time that you're starting, you have that gel and you start your race with a gel right before you begin, right before the cannon goes. And then you're a little bit more fueled. The worst thing is to be hungry and not have any fuel on you. So bring extra, bring those easily digestible foods, and you could always toss them if you don't want to use them.
Anyone in person have any questions?
You're all
Right.
good to
Oh,
go.
Here
Oh,
we
we
go.
got one.
Hold
Here
on,
we
I'm
go.
coming. Here's my Strava record for the day.
There you go.
Are there any watches that you'd recommend, like low price for tracking pace?
I just bought this one. This is the Garmin. I can't remember the number. It's like the maybe 165. It works. It's great. Easy to read. I don't like a lot of bells and whistles. I just like my time and my distance. And so this one is pretty good. You don't get distracted by all the extra stuff. Garmin, Koros. People use Koros.
I was going to say not on brand, but Koros, just edit that out.
Sorry.
Should you be like cognizant of your heart rate while you're running, or not necessarily?
What was the question?
Should you be cognizant of your heart rate?
I personally don't. I'm more on my pace and how I feel because I don't know how accurate the watch is, especially if you're sweating and moving. If you have a heart rate monitor and you've worked with a coach and you have more of a plan on how to use that information, then that might be something to explore.
I agree with Amy on that one. Heart rate training is a very different style of training, unless that's how you're training. Just go with how you feel.
All right, we're going to jump online for maybe one or two more questions. Jackie asked a while ago, how do you recommend balancing strength training and rest days with run days? Worrying about injuring myself with strength training as I ramp up mileage.
We just got jokes up here. I would say, again, this is, you talk to your run coach, talk to your trainer if you're working with a trainer. There's different theories on this. Some coaches and trainers will say you should be doing your running the same day as you're doing your weight training because then you can have a rest day the next day. Some will say break it up over the week. So again, that's going to be very different on the runner. If you're injury prone, what kind of weight training or cross training are you doing? And obviously, on a rest day, that doesn't necessarily always mean it should be 100% rest. That could be going for a walk. It could be something light like swimming. So everyone's plan is going to be very different. In terms of injury, just don't overdo it. That's most important. Just keep it nice and relaxed. Everything is going to be progressive, but just do not push it too far.
All right, and the last question that I have here with the asterisk that we do have a logistics race day panel on October 23rd, but good question, it ended up. Carl asks, clothes shedding before the race if it's really cold out, kind of how do you dress cold knowing you're going to be running in t-shirts, stuff like that?
November 2nd is going to be a perfect day. I can feel it. Jinxing it in now. I know it. It's the year. You are going to dress for whatever the weather is on your closest layer to your skin. And that's going to be the clothing that you've been wearing during your training, okay? And it's going to be perfect weather. I'm promising all of you, okay, that now. And then on top of that, you're going to wear layers. So you will see on all modes of transport, people wearing pajamas, people wearing onesies, people wearing ridiculous clothes that they've got from a thrift shop. Do that too. Just go and get lots of layers. Pajamas are really fun. You want to be cozy. You want to be warm. You don't want to be cold or uncomfortable sitting around the fort when it's cold in the morning because that's what we're hoping for. We're wanting a cold, crisp morning. So you want to be warm, you want to be comfortable so that you can shed those layers when you go into the starting corrals. And those clothes will be redonated. Okay?
We good?
People wear the bathrobes. That's my
The bathroom.
That
genius.
slippers, the people that wear the carbon plated shoes and they have slippers, they have a robe on. You get a little Duncan hat. It's a whole vibe.
I
really
would say
is.
the only thing I would add, if you are going to put on a sweatshirt, like I always cut a slit so it's easy to grab off. If you have a hat on, you don't want to mess up the whole head thing that you have arranged. So make sure your clothes are easy to remove.
And that bib is pinned to your innermost layer so you don't lose it on the race somewhere. That's
Don't take your bib off when you're
Pro tip.
taking off those layers.
Pin that on your innermost layer. Keep it on there. I know we probably have a few more questions, but I want to thank all of our panelists for being here today. We'll see some of you in November and enjoy it. But we do have another panel on September 18th. So if you had so much fun tonight, come back and do it again. We'll have some more great information on that night. But everybody online, thank you for joining. People in the back, our tech team, thank you, everybody. Tanner, you learned stuff. Tanner, I know you're running for Berlin. Are you ready for your taper? He's getting ready, Tanner, so we know he's got it going on there. But thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. If you have questions, our panels will be available. But have a great evening and take care. Thank you. Bye.